"Give me $200,000 or you're finished in this family." My sister said those words. Not a stranger, not a debt collector, not some scammer online. My older sister, Megan. She said it 3 days after I made the mistake of sharing good news with the people I believed cared about me. By Sunday dinner, there were 7 people sitting at that table. One of them was my lawyer. Another was the pastor my mother invited, hoping he could guilt me into giving in. And by the time we reached dessert, the person crying wasn't me, it was Megan. But the reason she was crying had nothing to do with money. Before I continue, take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if this story really connects with you. Drop your location and local time in the comments too. I always enjoy seeing where everyone is watching from. I'm Thea. I'm 31 years old, an accountant from a small town outside Columbus, Ohio. Let me take you back to a Tuesday evening in March. The night I picked up the phone and made the worst call of my life. I don't usually play the lottery. I want that clear. I'm the kind of person who tracks every dollar in a spreadsheet and packs lunch to work in plastic containers. But that Tuesday, I stopped to fill my gas tank at a speedway outside Westerville, and there was a Mega Millions sign on the counter. $2. I thought, why not? 4 days later, I'm sitting in my apartment, staring at my phone screen, checking the numbers again, 3rd time, 4th time, 5th time, $1.2 million. After taxes, about $740,000. Still enough to change my life. Enough to finally buy a house. Enough to stop renting. Enough to breathe for the first time in years. And the very first thing I did, before calling a financial advisor, before calling a lawyer, before doing anything a smart person should do, I called my mother. "Mom, you're not going to believe this." She screamed. I mean, a real scream. I heard her pull the phone away and shout into the other room, "Gerald, Thea won the lottery. Thea won the lottery." For a moment, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. I felt like I belonged to them again. Within an hour, Dad called. His voice sounded warm for the first time in months. "Proud of you, kid." 3 simple words I had spent my whole life chasing. Within 2 hours, Megan called. Sweet voice, sugary tone. "Oh my God, Thea, I'm so happy for you. We should celebrate. Let's do a family dinner." Then she asked a question that seemed harmless at the time. "So how much was it after taxes?" I told her. Because I trusted her. Because I was still naive enough to believe good news could stay good news in this family. For about 2 hours, I felt like I had a family again. That feeling turned out to be the most expensive emotion of my life. Wednesday morning, not even 24 hours later, Mom called while I was sitting at my desk at work. Her voice sounded casual, the kind she uses when she wants something but pretends the idea is yours. "Honey, I've been meaning to tell you, the roof started leaking again. The estimate came back around $15,000. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could finally get that fixed?" I told her I'd think about it. Thursday, Dad called. No small talk. No, how are you? You know what your mother and I sacrificed for you? I worked double shifts so you could go to college. Here's the thing about that sentence. It wasn't true. My father did work double shifts, but that money went to bills, to Megan's cheerleading uniforms, to a boat he sold 3 years later for a loss. My college was paid with federal loans. Loans I'm still paying at 31, but I didn't say that. Not yet. Thursday night, Megan called again. The sweetness was gone. "Thea, I need $200,000. Todd and I are drowning. Credit cards, mortgage, everything, it's bad. You have the money. This is what family does. $200,000 out of $740,000? More than a quarter of everything I had. I said I needed time to think. What's there to think about? I opened my mouth to answer, but she cut me off. "If you say no, don't bother coming Sunday." Then she hung up. I sat in my dark apartment with the phone still in my hand. 3 days earlier, I was nobody to these people. One lottery ticket later, suddenly the whole family believed they owned part of my life. What I didn't know yet was how organized that claim was about to become. Friday morning, my phone buzzed with a message from a number I hadn't seen in months. Pastor David Patterson from Mom's Church. Thea, your mother reached out to me. She's worried about you. Generosity is a blessing. I hope you'll pray on this. Mom had gone to the church. Of course she had. That's Donna Andrews' strategy. When guilt doesn't work at home, take it public. But that wasn't the worst part. Megan had been busy too. Texts started arriving from extended family, people who usually only contacted me around Christmas. Aunt Diane, hey sweetie, Megan called. Everything okay? Uncle Bob heard there's some tension. Family is everything, Thea. Then the message that actually made me sit down on the bathroom floor at work. Grandma Ruth, 81 years old, the woman who taught me how to bake pies when I was 9. I'm disappointed in you, sweetheart. Megan had gotten to her. I checked Facebook. Megan had posted in our family group, pray for our family. Some people forget what blood means when money shows up. 14 reactions, 8 comments, all supporting Megan. Then something practical hit me like cold water, something that made my hands shake. I had co-signed Dad's truck loan 2 years earlier. If he stopped paying, my credit score would crash. No house for me. Mom's savings account. I was listed as co-holder when I helped set it up in 2019. She had full access. They had leverage, not emotional leverage, financial leverage. That night, I opened my laptop and started doing something I had never done before. I'm an accountant. Numbers are literally my job. Yet somehow in all the years I've been quietly helping my family, I had never added it all together. I opened a blank spreadsheet and pulled up bank records going back to 2017. 4 hours later, the numbers stared back at me. $87,000. Money I had given them over the years. March 2019, $30,000 to Megan during her first separation from Todd. June 2021, $18,000 for Dad's truck. January 2022, $22,000 for Mom's knee surgery. October 2023, $17,000 covering Megan's rent during her second separation. All of it promised back. None of it repaid. $87,000. I sat there at midnight staring at that total and something inside me quietly shifted. Saturday afternoon, my phone rang. Megan's number. But it wasn't Megan. Auntie Thea, Lily, 7 years old. My niece, Mommy says you don't love us anymore. Is that true? My chest tightened. Lily, honey, I love you. That will never change. Then why is Mommy crying? I closed my eyes. Megan had used her own child as a weapon. That was the moment everything inside me changed. You can take my money. You can call me selfish, but you don't get to use a 7-year-old girl to break me. That was the line. So I called my college roommate, Rachel Whitfield. She's a family lawyer. Rachel, I need your help. Are you free Sunday? Sunday dinner? Started at 5. By dessert, the entire story had exploded. The folder I brought contained every receipt, every transfer, every message promising repayment, $87,000 laid out on the dining table between the pot roast and the breadbasket. When the pastor realized he had been invited to pressure the wrong person, he stood up and apologized to me in front of everyone. When Dad realized the truck outside had been paid for by the daughter he was demanding money from, he walked out of the room. And when Megan realized everyone could see the truth, the tears finally stopped being fake. But the real shock came from Todd, quiet, silent Todd. He finally spoke. "We owe $42,000 in credit card debt," he said. "Megan wanted Thea to bail us out, so nobody else would find out." The room went completely silent. And in that moment, Megan understood something for the first time in her life. The money was never the real problem. The truth was, 3 months later, I bought my own house. 2 bedrooms, small porch, old kitchen cabinets from 1987, but it's mine, my mortgage, my door, my rules. And the only people who came to the housewarming were Rachel, Aunt Diane, and Todd with Lily. Lily walked through every room like a tiny inspector. When she reached the empty second bedroom, she turned and asked, "Is this my sleepover room?" I knelt down and smiled. "If you want it to be." She hugged me so tight, it felt like she had been saving that hug for weeks. I also quietly opened a $30,000 education fund for her. No one in the family knows about it yet. Some gifts don't need witnesses. My father still hasn't called. Maybe he will someday. Maybe he won't. But the version of me who sat at that dinner table calm, prepared, and done apologizing for existing, that's the version of myself I'm keeping. If you're the person in your family who always gives the call when they need money, but not when they need to listen, remember something. Setting a boundary doesn't make you selfish. It means you finally learned your value. And sometimes that lesson costs less than staying silent forever.